Alright guys, so we've been a little quiet the past few weeks on Pathfinder playtest updates. Of course, they'll still be rolling out right now. The dev team is nose to the grindstone getting them together. But what we do have today is some official Pathfinder, not playtest, but 2nd edition content. Yes, that's right, and you're reading the thumbnail correctly. There's some huge changes. We're here to talk all about them. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so, you can get all your sweet Pathfinder 1st and 2nd edition content right here without missing a beat. And today, of course, this episode of your Pathfinder Now Truly 2nd edition content was brought to you in part by Jeremy Kevin Styles. Thanks for your help, my friend. Now, we've got a lot to talk about. First, let's do the easy one. In Pathfinder 2nd edition, we're going to be introducing a new condition. Some of the other conditions will be overhauled as well. Things will be cleaned up a little bit, but the big takeaway from Paizo Friday a couple weeks ago, where Dan and Jason both don wonderful Christmas hats and look just dapper, let me say, boys. Nevertheless, break out your tonberries. The doomed condition is coming down. This is going to be handed out by powerful undead, powerful necromancy spells, things of that nature, and the basic idea is the higher your doomed value goes up, the earlier you die from the dying condition. So doomed 1, you die at dying 3. Doomed 4, you just die. Oops, sorry about it. Again, I can't not think of Final Fantasy's Tonberry, though I guess the counter started at 10 in Final Fantasy, not at 4. Nevertheless, much like they say in Paizo Friday, this is definitely a condition to be afraid of, especially once you start ticking up wounded values. It's almost like the non-lethal damage of Legacy Pathfinder, but put on your dying value because the wounded is tracking from one direction, doomed is tracking from the other. Oh, I can definitely see myself using this in some dungeons in Pathfinder 2nd edition. Watch what you read, kids. Mind your will saves. Or, probably both, or hire a hireling to trip the trap for you, because nothing is safer than killing your friends instead of you. Anywho, the second thing we have to talk about in this video, and yes, you've read that correctly again in the thumbnail, Resonance is getting the axe. Just definitively, Resonance will be gone in Pathfinder 2nd edition. There will still be a system that tracks how many worn magic items a given character can wear, but the potions, the scrolls, the wands, both of those last two also getting overhauled. The trinkets, no longer tracking your resonance, because no resonance anymore. Use it as often as you have it, and I kind of, really like that, it turns out. This seems to be a fair balance between keeping everybody from just jamming magic items on, as more very powerful magic items are released, while at the same time, especially in lower level play, keeping party members alive, keeping everybody from dying horribly, and allowing us to use some really sweet items. For example, the Potency Crystal, one of my favorite trinkets. Have you guys watched A Simple Job? That's our Pathfinder playtest all rogue party, and follow this card right up here if you'd like to get caught up on it. We're only 2 sessions deep right now. Starting the 3rd tonight on Twitch, 6 p.m. Central Time, but Silumgar is carrying, I think, a full 1 bulk in Potency Crystals, because with my starting wealth, I would rather buy the Bracers of Armor than the Enchanted Hand Wraps, because Rogue Monk real good. Now, of course, we had a new party member join in, and Jason has been very generous with his gold, so now I no longer need those Potency Crystals. But having a free magic weapon as a free action when you hit is really, really darn good in low-level play before you've picked one up, especially if you have an image in your head of like, I want to use this sort of weapon, or you're like a goblin rogue who really wants backstabber from their dog slicer, etc., etc. Now you can just use as many of those as you want, and the same is true with potions. So the cleric, in addition to some balancing changes that we've seen there as well, as we've talked about, has become a little less of a party staple. Now you don't necessarily have to have a healer in the back row, MMORPG style, because, again, resonance is gone. Carry all the potions that you want. Now, lastly, this is the big one. Before, and I have to thank Dan for this. Thanks, Dan, for sharing that video in our patron Discord, because otherwise I would have been completely unaware of this, because, again, blogs have been a little less than forthcoming lately. We were going to make a video on the power creep in the Pathfinder playtest, as I truly believe it is alive and well. Today's video slot was going to be occupied by my thoughts on our Christmas one-shot and how a paladin who archetyped into fighter, pure fighter, and ranger who archetyped into rogue had basically zero problem taking down a white dragon at their level. Then they got full healed because we had a little extra time at the end of the one-shot, and then fought a Merilith, which is stronger, and were still able to defeat it. Not with a full party of 4, not with the balanced party image that I think a lot of people keep in their heads. No, this was literally just 3 dudes with swords and 1 Maul with a lot of D12s on crits. Let me tell ya, running in, beating things down. I have noticed at low-level play, death is a lot easier to accomplish in the Pathfinder playtest, but it seems at high-level play, barring wave after wave of demon encounters, the PCs do truly become the strongest things in the universe. That's getting even better, because proficiency is getting overhauled. Now, one thing I'm going to note now, none of these changes take effect until Pathfinder 2nd Edition is released, because these changes very obviously indicate that all of the math of all of the everything has to be rewritten from the ground up. We're talking DCs of skill checks, we're talking monster ACs, we're talking saves, etc., etc., etc. Nevertheless, with no further ado, henceforth, once we reach Pathfinder 2nd Edition, untrained in a skill or with a weapon means you roll a d20, add your mod, and nothing else. Nada. Trained is d20 plus level plus 2, expert d20 plus level plus 4, both of those with mod, of course. Master d20 plus level plus mod plus 6, and legendary plus 8. That is enormous. Let's break down the math really quickly. Let's say I have 20 strength and am level 20, but am untrained in a given weapon that I've picked up. That weapon is not magical in any way, shape, or form, literally just like a non-magical dog slicer, again, that for some reason I think I really need to use, and I swing in with it and roll a natural 20, I've got a 25. Now, same story with the fighter. Non-magical dog slicer, I'm legendary with it, I pick it up, I go to town, I roll a natural 20, I get to add my level 20 onto that 20, plus 5, my strength, assuming, again, just same stats, the only variable here is the proficiency, then 8. So we're looking at a grand total of plus 53 to hit, in place of the 25 coming from Johnny non-proficient. That's huge. That's more than double the difference. And that definitely makes legendary feel, well, what's the word? Legendary, as opposed to the untrained guy. Now, myself and several of my fellow playtesters have had some issue with this, but again, it's hard to say whether or not this will be balanced or unbalanced until we see the armor classes of the monsters. And oh yeah, please believe we're doing a fighter versus Jabberwock min-maxing for fun and profit when 2E comes out. Oh man, I gotta know. The hang-up that my groups have had is consider something like the rogue, who is only ever expert in the weapon he swings. So that's the same weapon, we'll say 20 dex, because we're a good rogue, rolled a 20, 4 from expert, 5 from dex, 20 from proficiency. Again, that comes down to a 49, which is a difference of 4. I guess I'm here to say, for all of my friends who are in the Pathfinder playtest, that feels perfectly balanced to me, to be honest with you, especially considering said rogue will be able to get flanking more often, will have more debuffs, etc., 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 on and on. Whereas the fighter, the guy who came into the party to, I don't know, not paint pictures, no, fight things, will be able to, as Bowman has said, with his first attack, usually hit like 90% of the time. That seems real good. And you know, the same applies for our Gishes, our sorcerers who archetyped into fighter. They'll eventually get to expert with the weapon. They'll be swinging on our best day at plus 49. That's before like True Strike. That's before Harm. That's before all of the sweet Gishy goodness that our sorcerer fighter would have. And we'll have better proficiency with our spells, and we'll have bigger spells. So the flip-flop seems there. If you want to be closer to the Magus, you'll play a fighter who archetypes into caster, something like a melee sorcerer, and you can play them in Legacy Pathfinder. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. They're not bad. Or something like a Dragon Disciple, Eldritch Knight, etc. you would start with the caster and then archetype into fighter. The balance seems to be there. And that's all the information we have to report today. Again, it's been a real big morning. It's been a real big weekend as I've sat and crunched numbers with this information. What do you guys think about it? Does this seem fair and balanced? Will we miss Resonance? Are we just glad Resonance is gone forever? Are we glad that it's been, well, doomed? Let me know in the comments. Conversation, as always, will be kept going. And thank you guys so much for all your support, hanging out, watching, hitting that like and subscribe button, jamming the notifications. The next episode of your Pathfinder 2nd Edition preview content, where we talk about staple control magic from Legacy Pathfinder and how that has translated into the playtest in Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit, drops this Saturday.